Hi and welcome to my review of the ThL T6 Pro. The device itself I kindly received from the Antelife shop. The product link for that you can find in the video description. And if you're interested in reading the full review, you can do this on my blog. I will give also the link to it in the video description. So let's start with the outer appearance of the phone. The outer appearance is basically the same as the ThL T6S, just with some better specifications. For example, they added an HD display with a 720p resolution. They also replaced the octa-core, the quad-core processor with the MTK 6582 octa-core processor, clocked with up to 1.4 GHz each. And yes, that's basically it. As I already mentioned in the ThL T6S review, I like the outer appearance of this device. It seems kind of worthy. Don't really notice any bigger problems here. Just in my device it has a small slit here, which does make a bit of a sound, but it's really kind of small. And since I did not have this problem with my T6S, and as I think they use the same casing, I guess I just received one of the few a bit worse examples, but actually it doesn't really matter at all because you really don't notice it. So let's jump to the system. This phone is running on Android 4.4.2 KitKat, and as you might have already have seen, it uses again the same as on the T6S, a slightly modified stock launcher, which means that basically just they replaced the icons. So every program icon is has a small background with some rounded edges here, which I personally like. Yeah, I like it. Nothing special. I mean, it's up to everyone else, which they personally prefer. So first of all, let's check in the system settings that this phone is running on KitKat actually, which you can see here. Android 4.4 KitKat. Let's jump back and quickly check which languages does this phone actually support. So I'll just scroll through it and you can check, or like pause the video and check if your language is supported. That's it. So as one of the special features which they also added to the ThL T6 Pro, which the S version did not have, is the smart gesture feature. You can activate it here. Yes, activate. Yes, it will consume power. So as you for example see, they implemented things like the double tap to wake up, and it works. Or also like small things that, for example, draw on small M to get to the music. Let's try that. And it already started a small song. Or for example, what else do they have? E, for example, to get to the browser. That works, is nice to have, a nice little gimmick, but I personally don't really use it, don't really like it as well too much. But anyway, it's a nice gimmick to have. So let's get back to the main menu. And just to determine a bit of the performance of this device, I ran the Antutu benchmark, the version 5, and it kind of like delivered the real result of roughly 26,500, which should be definitely enough for 95, let's say, % of all applications what you're using. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much also what I expected from the octa-core, and together with a 1 gig of RAM. Yeah, we can shortly have a look into the CPU Z, and you can see the 8 CPUs running. And yeah, here we come to the sensors. It has an accelerometer, it has a proximity sensor, and it has a light sensor, which we can now check in more detail with this small app sensor box. We have, for example, the accelerometer sensor, which works like this, pretty much, yeah. Then we have also the light sensor. While it's already kind of quickly initialize it. Okay, that's funny. It has a kind of bug now. It shines. It's kind of very dark. Okay, that's weird. I guess I have to restart it. If you check my German review, then it's actually working. Here it is not working now. Basically, yeah, you have this very shady style, but I don't know. It was working just a second ago. I don't know what's that. So let's continue to the proximity sensor. And yeah, that at least works as it's supposed to. Let's quickly check back to the light sensor if it works now properly. No, still not. I mean, it goes down to 0 if I cover it, but actually it's not really bright in here, so it shouldn't be at 640 luxes. But at least you can see it is going down if I cover it. At least it did. Okay, that's odd. Sometimes working. Well, that's basically a problem which I experience with most of the ThL phones, that if you really want to use the automatic backlight, automatic brightness, it does not really work as you would expect, so it's not really usable. But let's come back to it. It does not have a magnetic sensor, so the GPS has to work without it, or like navigation, I mean. The GPS, the first fix was kind of quick, something like under 15 seconds, but then it was not really usable, I have to admit, because it has a hard, very strong drifting. So basically, if you make a stop, not even a quick stop, and the GPS location will really drive on, slowly stutter, and it really takes up to 10-20 seconds until it realized that you did not change your actual position anymore. And also while standing still, it had the problem that there is some weird noise, I guess, on the sensor, so maybe it's like improvable with some GPS tweaks, but like this in the default state, it's not really likely nice for having it as a navigation system. But whatever, let's go on. This phone has also a notification LED, which is on the top left here, and it just supports the color red, which you can check here, and it turns on red. So, now for demonstration purposes, I also installed a small game called Dead Trigger 2. Just to show you quickly the 3D performance of this device, that it's perfectly working for also playing 3D games. It's a free game you can download from the Play Store. I honestly just installed it today, so don't blame me if it's gonna be shit, especially with my gaming, but we will see. So yeah, I guess you can see what I wanted to show, that the game runs nice and fluently, no lags or something like this. It looks nice. So yeah, you can also use it for normal gaming, I guess. And it officially does not support USB OTG. So let's just find out if it perhaps does work or not. So I've got a normal USB stick and my USB on the go cable, and I plug it in on the backside and nothing happens. So it really does not support USB on the go, which also it does not officially, but just thought like, let's give it a try. Perhaps we're lucky, but no. So let's come to a conclusion for this phone. I personally really much like this phone, especially for a price under 100 euros. Of course, you still have to add the sending plus the tax and so on, but still, if you like the design of the ThL T6S, but as I mentioned in the review, that this phone I mostly see as, for example, a secondary phone because of the small display resolution. This phone has exactly this small things improved, although for me, as I tested it, it has a worse GPS, which is again a downside. But if you, for example, don't really use the GPS, I think this is a really nice device. So if you like my review, then you can do me a small favor and just subscribe to my channel. And I hope you liked it. Also if not, then have a nice day and see you soon.